Carlos, thank you for being here tonight, being my moderator. Pamela Leonard, thank you for being here. We got a really cool subject tonight and encouraging men to be leaders. And we're going to be talking about chivalry and is it dead and all of those things. It's going to be a conversation. I have coffee here. I made some blueberry coffee. So if y'all are wanting some blueberry coffee, go head over to our little farm shop, TheTexasBoys.com, and find some coffee. There's all kinds over there. There's Southern Pecan, there's caramel, there's vanilla. There's so many different kinds over there, but there's also blueberry now. So if you're looking for some good coffee, you can go find it over there. Also, just before we get started, I'm just going to say it is the last day to sign up for the courses. So if you are interested in the parenting course, Raising Fearless Children, or if you're interested in the Young Men's course, either one, go ahead and sign up today. We're going to be closing that out today. That will be the end of it. And then it'll be closed for 5 weeks. And then we're going to probably take a little quick break and then we'll reopen it at a later date and run it for 5 weeks again. And we're going to be doing that all throughout the year. So that is that. It's $8 a month for 12 months. So it's really affordable. We made it that way for lots of people to be able to take advantage of the course. So Raising Fearless Children and Fearless Young Men. If you're interested in that, go check them out. Tonight I have another dress. It is made by the same company, the Manydress. And I will leave it in the links below for you. This one is from Amazon, and there's so many things that I love about this dress. I have it in 2 different patterns now. I have this little blue calico pattern. It's just like a light dusty blue, and so many things that I love about this dress. So I love that the neckline, you can see the neckline on this. It doesn't come down super duper low. It doesn't have the crisscrossy thing over the top that sometimes you have to like pin or you have to stitch it up. If it has the crisscross thing, it doesn't have that. It just has a nice little V neckline. I have my full slip on underneath of it, which serves as like a little cami kind of underneath of it. Has the really pretty little summer ruffle sleeves, which I've been wearing it pretty much almost all day with my little cardigan, and I think I linked that for you below in the last video, but I'll link it again this time too. It comes all the way down. Now I'm short, y'all, but this comes down to ankle length. I know you can't see it on the camera, but it's ankle length, and it does have like a little ruffle edge around the bottom of it. I just really, really love it so much. It's just a very simple house dress, church dress. You could really wear it anywhere. You could wear it to a wedding. You could wear it anywhere. It's just a very pretty, comfortable, very lightweight dress. And like I said, I have it in, I think it comes in 3 colors. It's very affordable. But I have it in this color, and I have it in like a tannish multicolor too. So anyway, let's just jump into it here. My hair is going to drive me a little crazy because it's like it's all over the place. I was out back with the kids because they put up a pool today in the backyard, which is wonderful in Texas in the summertime because there's not a whole lot else to really be able to do anyway. So it's very, very nice. And the pond is established now. So the snakes have found our pond. As of the 2nd year, the snakes found the pond. So we can't do swimming in the pond anymore. My one son kills snakes like on a daily basis. Yes, for those of you who don't live in the southern states, I'm talking about poisonous snakes. So yeah, not so cool. Anyway, let's get into it tonight. So I thought this was a really neat topic to talk about because in light of us, I'll say for myself, aspiring to be more feminine, right? I feel like this study of femininity in who God has designed us to be as ladies, I think it is a lifelong endeavor, as is um, your your role as a mother, right? You never arrive. You've never figured it all out. You're trying to do better and better at it, and then you become a grandmother, and you have to learn that new role and how to grow into that and be better and better at that, right? So all of these roles that the Lord gives us. We grow into, we never arrive, right? So as a wife, it's my lifelong passion to learn how to be a good wife to my husband, right? I want to be a good wife to him, and he wants to be a good husband to me. So I desire to learn more about being feminine, being a lady, what that means, how that is inside and out, all of it. But for the purpose of these videos, we are focusing more on the outside. The inside is our own personal work that we need to do between us and the Lord. But the outside is so different than what we see all around us today, majorly, right? So it doesn't come so natural. But what I've noticed, we're going to go through some verses tonight too, is that when we show the distinction outwardly and we present ourselves as being very feminine and gentle and meek and delicate and all of those things, right? Soft spoken, all of those things. Um, when we show up as that in the world around us or even in our home, it elevates the role of the men so much so that they step it up and they become more manly, more chivalrous, more, let me do that for you. That's okay. I'll take care of that for you. And that's what we want, right? That's what you hear all of these young ladies today saying, where's all the good men? Where's the, men at and all of this. And I've heard it said by a couple different men that the problem today is that these young ladies and young women are looking for real men, but they're not really willing to be real women. They're not really willing to come to the table and offer that feminine part. And one man that I was listening to, he was saying that when he was looking for a wife back, I don't know what it's been now, maybe 40 years ago, he said, I wasn't looking for a man. Like, I was looking for a woman. And my volume could be louder. Oh no, hold on a second. Let's see if I can do this. I might need to go get help on that. Hold on. I am not good at this stuff. Let me see. I might need to call a friend here. Start call a friend button. Hold on, y'all. Real quick. I'm going to come right back. Hey, can somebody help me get the volume turned up? Please. Sorry about that. I had to phone a friend. Okay. Matt's coming to help me. Okay. Thanks, Rebecca, for saying that. I'm going to get the volume all figured out here in 1 second. I'm not, but Matt is. Or
why not put the microphone up closer?
I don't know. It's not loud enough. Is that louder?
Yeah, if you
could be louder.
There you go. How you like that?
It's like touching my face.
Test. That's how you do it.
Test. It's super touching my face. Okay. Is this loud enough? Please tell me. Okay. Let's just jump into it. Tell me if I'm not loud enough.
Talk louder, mother.
All right. I'm going to talk very loud. I'm in here all by myself. Okay. Okay. So our verse, we have several verses to look at tonight. One is Ephesians 5:28 through 33. So Ephesians 5:28 through 33. And if somebody wants to jot that down for us and put it up there, that would be great. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hateth his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Thanks, always loyal. So that is our one verse that we're going to be talking about tonight, and I have a couple more for you. Let me give you this one. Deuteronomy 22:27, just food for thought here. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. And if you know that story in context, that was like really, really a shame that the girl was yelling in the field for help, and there was no one to come to her rescue. She was being raped. 1 Peter 3:7, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So here's some verses to think on tonight as we go through this study. And one other thing I was just going to give you too was I had a Cambridge dictionary. I tried the Webster 1828, but it was a little too outdated for this one. But chivalrous, right? So I looked up the meaning of the word chivalrous. And it says, a chivalrous man is polite, honest, fair, and kind toward women. He was polite and chivalrous and never cursed in front of her. Remember those days, right? When men would watch what they would say in front of ladies, right? So let's go down. Is there any more here? Very polite and kind toward women. Yes, this same man, while charming and chivalrous towards women. Okay, there's some modern nonsense in here. But anyway, I was just thinking about chivalry. I was just thinking about how we desire as women, and we hear all the time from young ladies that they desire a man that is chivalrous, right? They want to be treated like a princess, right? And this old cowboy man that I watched, he said, I wasn't looking for another man. I was all the man that I needed to be. I was looking for a woman. When I wanted to find a wife, I was looking for a woman. I needed that feminine nature. I needed all of the things that she could bring to the table. And I think that a lot of times us as ladies, it's like, I shouldn't say us, but in our modern culture, we're teaching our young girls that they have to be strong and they have to be dominant and they have to be just like the boys and just like the men on every single level. And then they're crying because there's no young man that wants them, or they can't find a young man because they are this strong dominant type of person and they were never taught to be feminine. So I don't know, it's just something that I've been thinking about, and I know you ladies who are feminine and go out into public or just around your house, you can share with us in the comments, but just how different the interaction is between men and you, like how you see that difference being. I know I definitely see it with my boys. I even see it with my littlest boy who's only 5. He comes, and if I have like a dress on like today and it's soft and it's sheer, he just loves it. Like he just wraps himself around me and he's just like right at the skirt of my dress, and he's saying, oh, you look pretty, mommy, and just different things like that. Like they notice it even at 5 years old. He just turned 5. He notices that. And definitely at 48 years old, my husband, he notices that. It's like one of the first things that he notices when he gets home is like, oh wow, you look really pretty. Oh, you smell really good, and when he gives me a hug, I have my slip on underneath, and it's soft. Everything is there's so much about it. I was reading a story the other night too, my little 5-year-old boy, and it's kind of set more like in older times, old times like the 50s story, maybe 60s. And it's about a little girl and she wants a pony. And so we were reading through the story, and the mother in the story, she has a dress on, probably very much like the dress that I have on, just a regular day dress. I don't know what they would call them, house dress, nothing fancy. And I thought, that was so common. Like that was so commonplace to see a mother, that was the way that a mother was depicted, was um, in a very delicate dress, and they went out to the farm, and there's the picture, of the husband and the mother, and and the little child. And I don't know, it's a beautiful story, but it's just that wasn't the point of the story, but it just stood out to me so much because um it wasn't a Christian book, it wasn't a Mennonite book or anything like that, but it was just the way that society was not that long ago. And now, sometimes we really beat ourselves up, like I said before, like as ladies, to think like, oh, well, if you're going to dress like that, who do you think you are? Like, you should just put on a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. You should just put on, a nice big baggy pair of jeans and a t-shirt and just be like everybody else. Like, you think you're so special. Satan really does whisper all these things to us. And nobody was thinking that, 50 years ago, nobody thought that. If they saw a lady, whether she was at home or in public, and she was in a modest, pretty dress, they didn't think like, "Well, who does she think she is? Oh, she thinks she's so special," you know? Nobody thinks that. Um, Nobody thought that. They just thought, "She's a woman, she's a lady, that's the way that ladies are." So, I don't know, I just think so much has been stripped from us, and I really appreciate, just the interaction between my own family, and then, of course, when you're presenting yourself as a lady, the reaction from anybody else, just everybody in public. Um, it's just a different level of respect that it seems like you get when you show up in a dress. When you present yourself in a feminine way, it's just a whole different thing. And I can't explain it. I know y'all can't explain it. I know you've probably experienced it, but um, it really does remind our men that they are, to be chivalrous to us, that we are the weaker vessel, that they should bestow more honor upon us, right? Just like how the wife and the mother, right? We're supposed to nourish and cherish our children, and the father too. But that's our mission all day long, right? Is to give honor to this little weaker vessel um, that can't do all those things on their own yet. And even that's the order, right? That's the way that things are. So that it's a disgrace when you see a husband that won't honor his wife in nourishing and caring for her, and doing things for her. I don't know, just caring for her. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, y'all, but you kind of get it, I'm sure. Um, so in Ephesians 28, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. So, so men are called to love us just like their own flesh, right? Adam and Eve, and Adam says, "She's bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh," right? Um, so we are one flesh. So, um, and I've always been very, very blessed that my husband has always been honorable to me. He's always treated me very honorably. He's never hurt me or said like, abusive things to me. I've never been in that type of situation ever. So I just appreciate these scriptures so much because I know the benefit of living in this, and it's a beautiful thing when it's lived out. Um, for no man yet ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord, the church, right? And there are those times where we're sick, where we've had a baby, where we're weak, and we need to be nourished. We need to be cherished. We need our husband's words of kindness. We need to be lifted up, right? There's definitely times as women where um, we need that encouragement, right? Or we just go through different things that maybe we lose family members and just all different times and seasons in life that our husbands have opportunity to really hold us up and care for us, right? And then it just keeps going through talking about this is a great mystery, speaking of Christ and the church, right? And marriage is that picture of Christ and the church, which is why marriage is so important, and how we um, how we reflect our marriage to the world and everything is just so important because it is that earthly picture of the spiritual truth that is Christ in the church, right? 1 Peter 3:7, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. And I do teach my young boys, uh, my older boys, but they're still young men, to I always remind them that, I am weaker than you. Like your sister is weaker than you. She is not just physically, but mentally. Like you have to be careful in the way that you treat her. You have to be careful in the way that you speak to her because it's going to affect her um, so much more deeply than it would affect a little boy. So we just have to be really careful with that. And being heirs together of the grace of life, salvation, right? That your prayers be not hindered. So I had an old pastor that would always remind the husbands to love their wives and honor their wives so that their prayers wouldn't be hindered. That's a big deal. And he would always say that, like, that's a really sobering thought. If you're not loving your wife right and you're not honoring her right as the weaker vessel, your prayers could be hindered. Your prayers could be not heard because of how you treat your wife. So um, that is just something that's always stuck with me too. And y'all, I'm just sharing things here tonight and over the past week now. Everybody, you have your husbands, you have your own fathers to go back to and to ask these things to. I don't want anybody in any way to feel like I'm teaching something like from some place of authority. I'm not doing that. I'm just sharing my thoughts on things, and then, like, y'all take them back and pray about them and talk to your own husbands and your own fathers and stuff about them, and see what they think about it. And that is the main um the main thing, that we would reverence our husbands, right? We're not called to reverence each other, right? As ladies, we're just called to reverence our husbands. So as I learn things or make changes in my life with different ways that I do things, or maybe how I present myself, or things like that, if the Lord is working on me in a certain area, I always take it to my husband and say, what do you think about this? What would you think if I did this? And see what he says, because ultimately that's the person who matters. I mean, it does matter what God thinks about things, right? And what we do. But as far as here on earth, how we reverence and honor our husband as unto the Lord, that really does matter. So let me go through some of your comments here. Oh, it's better now, Rebecca, now that I'm closer to the mic. I hate this thing being so close to my face, but it's okay. Chivalrous, yes, um, that is something that is just so long gone, right? But we do, like, I remember little things, I but I bet there's, like, so much to chivalry with men that, like, I'm thinking like old time etiquette. How neat would that be to like go back and read some of those things? I bet there's just so much. Like, I mean, I know like he should open the door for you. Like, I mean, I know like some basic things, but I don't know. Um, you know, I bet there's just some really neat things. Amanda's Place. Thanks. She says, I'm really looking forward to this topic. Loving that you're using the series to segue into all that is biblical. Yeah, so I just think, all of it's all for a reason, right? Like we're not just doing things to do things, right? We should have a reason behind it, and it should be to glorify the Lord, right? That's our whole purpose in life, is to glorify God, whether we're male or female. um, the whole point of man is to glorify God in everything that we do, in everything that we say, in how we present ourselves, and what we think, and um, where we go, in everything, in every aspect of life. The whole point of man is to glorify God. So the whole point of woman is to glorify God. So how could we best do that is kind of, you know, what I'm always thinking about is, not just outwardly. The outward is not the main thing, but it's just the fun thing that we're talking about for this month. Um, yes, Rebecca said she was married to an abusive husband and he stole all of her money and left her with no vehicle and 3 children. Yes, I understand that. Um, I have family on my side that's very close to me that she's gone through several abusive situations, and my on my husband's side as well. And none of those men were professing Christians, but it does happen even with a professing Christian husband, and then he professes Christ, and then he's horrible, a horrible, horrible human being, and that happens too. So that's sad, and that's not um that's not okay, and that's sin, and that's not totally, totally not okay, not acceptable at all. But praise the Lord, my sister does have a husband that is a Christian man now, um and she is finally happy, but it's taken her a long, long time to get to that place. Always Loyal says, my daughter loves the old movies, Gene Kelly movies, and the women had dresses. Oh, matching gloves, purse, hat, umbrella, etc. Yeah, it's fun. That's what I was saying. Always Loyal was like a few years back. It's probably been like 3 years ago now. I got really interested in some of these young girls that were, I'll say young girls, they're in their 20s or maybe early 30s. And they're very, very into like historical dress and all of that kind of stuff, and just studying out all of the different things about women and femininity, and just studying all that stuff, like historically learning all about those things. And I'm like, wow, this is so neat. This is so cool. And the ones that I was following, it seemed like in their everyday life, they were kind of living that out too. Like they all had different, maybe time periods that they really enjoyed, but that was kind of their thing. It was so much fun. I super enjoyed it. I just kind of like nerded out on all of it and was like learning all of these things about it. And it was just fun. It was super fun. Not that I was going to like dress like I lived in the 1800s or anything, um but it was really neat to watch like how they cared for their hair, how they sewed their dresses, how they just all different things. It was just so neat. And so we love watching older shows too. That's what my boys love, all the old time cowboy shows. And they watch them, and like the men are men and they're gritty and they're like heroes and they're just tough and and they got their gun holsters on and they're just, I mean, it's just amazing. It's just so cool to watch. And of course the women are women up until you get to like what, like the 60s, 70s era. And then, you know, things start to change and Hollywood gets kind of goofy in that time period. So we kind of try to stay away from all that because they kind of switch the agenda there. And so anyway, but all of that stuff is really neat. And even with my little girl this year, we went back and my little boys liked it too. But Miss Grace really enjoyed it. Was we watched like all the old Shirley Temple movies. And that was kind of the thing that super stood out to me. So the first one that we watched was, and I did not grow up watching Shirley Temple movies. But we watched Heidi. And when I pulled up the Shirley Temple Heidi and we started watching it, we had already watched like I don't know what year it was that Disney did Heidi. Like Disney redid a Heidi movie. I don't remember what year it was, but anyway, and the contrast, like the stark contrast in the storyline between the Shirley Temple movie Heidi and the newer Disney was like crazy. It was so crazy. I mean, they had taken out the grandfather, the grandfather was a drunk, and then the minister from the town kept coming out to him and like just having compassion on him in the Shirley Temple movie. And I think there was like an aunt or a sister, and she kept praying for him, and they would flash back to the church at different times, and then they got him to come to the church one time, and there was this whole Christian element that was in Heidi that had totally been ripped out of the Disney version of Heidi. That was not in it at all. And then also Heidi stays very feminine the whole time, whereas in the Disney rendition of Heidi, they like cut off all her hair like at the end when she goes back to live with the grandfather. They cut off all her hair, and they just she takes off her dress and she says she's just gonna wear like, I don't know, like this t-shirt thing, and she just looks very much like androgynous, totally like androgynous, boyish. And they even when Heidi went to stay in town with, I forget whatever the storyline is, like in the Disney one, she was very boyish, and then she shows up, and then they have to fix her hair, and then they put her in a dress and stuff when she goes to town. But in the Shirley Temple Heidi, she just stays a girl. Like she was a girl the whole time. She stays a girl. The girl thing was not even on the table. Like her going to town, and then I mean she had fancier clothes when she was in town, but she still was in dresses. She still looked adorable. It was just, that wasn't even a thing. But you see the agenda with the Disney movie where they were making it like all the town girly stuff was so frivolous, and really she just wanted to live this wild and free life and be like this androgynous kid. Like at the end I was like, oh, this is a little troublesome. But yeah, so we love watching all the old Heidi movies, and they're just awesome, y'all. It was back before correctness, and it was back, when you could just watch people tap dance, and it was just so cute and so uplifting. And I know it wasn't perfect, and I'm not saying it's a Christian movie, but we enjoy the point is, we enjoy those older time shows because it encourages your, like, just what you want your life to be, and when you're not going with the mainstream culture, it's so good to have those reminders of what real men were and what real ladies were and just all of the stuff. And like I said, I'm not floating cowgirl dress along. It's not. I do enjoy my house dresses. And I do enjoy being a girl and being a lady of the house, and I just so enjoy that with my daughter. I'm always telling her, like, you're a little lady, and I'm like, go take care of your room, put all of your things away, go a few minutes and, just be a lady, go take care of your stuff, and just different things like that. I'm just trying to instill in her now, um, that there's such a difference and there's so much honor in that distinction. It's just really cool. And I didn't grow up with that. So that's why it's so exciting to me. Beth Mitchell says, my husband says I have a pioneer spirit. I am with you, Beth. I don't know if I'm that tough as those ladies were, but maybe in the right circumstances, I think I could be. Um, I just all that all of that stuff really excites me. Just, when the power goes out here, as challenging as it is, it's still fun. Like, I enjoy that. And when we've taken different vacations and stuff, like, um, to little cabins and stuff back when our first 3 were little, and I would wash all the clothes in the sink and hang up all the clothes out to dry, and I'm like, "I could just live like this, like a little tiny cabin and just little tiny sink and simple meals," and I could totally do that. That would be really fun, but that's kinda in my blood too because, that was the way that my, great-grandparents did live. They were super pioneers, so immigrants, but yeah, you can be tough and feminine. Well, Rebecca, um, we're supposed to be strong. Um, the Bible talks about us being strong, and I think that in our place, we have strengths that, men don't have, right? Just like they have strengths that we don't have. So I think that when we're in our proper role, in our proper place, we can be very, um, very much a blessing and very strong in that role. Physically, I was way stronger when I was younger. But as you get older, I'm 45 now, and I'm like, oh boy, I went to that Azure pickup and they had those big 50-pound bags of all different types of stuff and heavier than that. And everybody was getting in line to pick them up. And I was like, I don't know that I could lift a 50-pound bag. There were years that I could not even have to think about it. I mean, probably even when we first moved down here, um, I could go to the feed store and lift 50-pound bags and throw them in the back of the car and not, or van and not even think about it. But as you get older, you start to think about that stuff a little more. And and I really hurt my shoulder uh, a few months back. I was moving canning jars in my pantry, and I moved a lot of canning jars, like, for half the day at least, and I messed up my shoulder. My shoulder was so messed up for probably, like, oh my, months. For months, it was totally messed up, and, just starting to learn my limitations, you know? It just happens with age. So, yeah, I think that is kind of some of the things that I just wanted to touch on tonight. If anybody has anything, any good conversations to add to it. I love all the old time stuff. I love learning about um what women did, what women wore. I just look up some of those different channels if they're clean enough and appropriate. It's just so much fun. Just like the slips and the dresses and just all of the different things. It's so neat to see all of that. And I think it's good to be reminded of that because even though that's not who we are now and it's not exactly what we're doing now, it's so good. Just like it's so good for us, just the same as it's good for my husband and my boys to be reminded of what men were like and what men were doing 50 years ago or 100 years ago. It's all good reminders. History is just so and to learn from. And there's so much that we can learn from it. I had very strong grandmothers, and both of them knew their place in the home. They knew how to run businesses. They knew a lot of things, but they knew how to be women, and they knew how to honor their husbands and how to reverence their husbands. And it was just really neat. I remember one story, this is a funny story, that my one grandmom used to tell me is that both of them had very sweet marriages, long, sweet, honorable marriages. But my one grandmom said that when her and my grandfather weren't married very long, and in the first 2 years they were married, he went off to war, and she didn't see him, and then he came home, and that was a sweet story. Anyway, but they weren't married very long, and she had put a little bit of makeup on, and he said, I don't think I really he would hardly never. He was a very quiet man. He said, "I don't think I want you wearing, makeup." And she said, "Oh, okay. That's fine, I don't have to wear makeup. You don't want me to wear makeup." And so, a few days goes by or a week goes by, and, she said, "It didn't bother me any." And then, he said, "Yeah, I guess you can go ahead and put on a little bit of makeup." So, she just thought that was so funny. That just tickled her so much because she was just like, "Okay, I mean, if that's I'll do whatever you want. I mean, if that's what it is." And, I don't know what the context of that conversation was in, probably just honoring your husband, and no matter what, even if it's kinda silly to you, if he asks something of you, to just go ahead and go with it, and, and so that's what she did, and she just thought that was so funny. I mean, she was, what, probably like 89 years old, at least 90 years old when she was telling me that story, and she still just got tickled about that, just thought that that was, like, the funniest thing that he was just random, like I mean, they were probably 20s, years old or something, and just like, "Yeah, I don't think you should wear the makeup." She's like, "Okay, I won't." And then I guess, because she didn't give him a hard time about it, I think maybe that was the point, that if she would've fought him on it and said, "Well, why can't I wear the makeup?" Or, "I'm just wearing a little bit, what's the big deal?" Or whatever, but she didn't. She just said, "Okay," you know? And then a few days later, a week later, he said, "Yeah, you can go ahead and wear a little bit of makeup." It was so funny. Anyway, I just, um, I just thought that was a funny story. Uh, uh, I don't know what you're saying, Rebecca. I don't think, yeah, I think, some of these things, yeah. Society is just has a, horrible deranged sense of everything. They just, Satan takes everything good and holy and right that God created, and he twists it and he perverts it and he makes it sick, and um, it should be the opposite in a Christian home and in a Christian marriage. Between a husband and a wife, it's just a whole different thing. And the respect and the honor that you have for each other. And I had a older pastor years ago, and he used to say, it just gets sweeter and sweeter as the years go by. And I think it does get sweeter and sweeter because you just grow more and more into that one flesh, and you know each other so well. That, you might still have differences as people. You're not the same person, but those differences complement each other so well. And, you know, you can just, your differences just seem to like, it gets more and more narrower, that gap between you and your husband, because I don't know. It's just, you just grow so much closer together as you get older. Yeah, Shelly says Shelly, farm raised kid says, my husband doesn't like me wearing makeup. I wear so little and so very seldom. I don't understand it. I don't know. It's funny, some men like a little bit of makeup. Like it is just so funny how different, all of us as wives are different in what we like and what we don't like, and all of our husbands are different in what they like and what they don't like. And that's why we just have to be so careful with all of these topics, because um, the point is to reverence our husband, right? The point is to honor our husbands. So um, oh, that was Divina. Oh, Divina says, my husband doesn't want me to wear makeup either. He likes my natural skin and hates makeup looks. Oh, okay. Divina, yeah. And some ladies, like my friend in Indiana, she doesn't wear any makeup. She just puts moisturizer on, and that's who she is. I don't know if that has anything to do with her husband or not, but I think that's just who she is. I have several friends like that. I mean, they're just beautiful. Their skin is just beautiful. And I don't know that it would have any husband or not. I'm not sure. But we should really look to our husbands, and I've heard, one friend, when I wear a little bit of mascara on my eyes, like me to have a little bit of mascara, like on my eyelashes or whatever. Like, that's what he likes. And I have another friend, and her husband always wants her hair to be down. And preferably he likes and fluffy. The curlier and the fluffier, the better. But he likes her hair done and curly and fluffy. So I don't know that my husband has said, I guess I should ask him, but I don't know that he's ever really said, like, if he has any preference of hairstyle. He never seems to react more to one way or another, but some men do. So it is just funny like that. Ellie said, my husband wanted an old-fashioned woman in the 80s. There was nowhere to be found except for me. Oh, so you're the 80s wife, Ellie. He's not overbearing about it. Oh, that's sweet, Shelly. Yeah. I didn't think anything. I wasn't implying anything by it. It's just funny how every husband is so different. And um my husband, there have been a couple things over the years that I've worn, and he's like, I didn't really like that. Usually it's like 6 months or a year into me wearing something, and then he'll say, oh, I don't really like that style. I'm like, what? I've been wearing it for like a year now. Are you kidding me? Like, why didn't you tell me? But he's just so laid back. Like, y'all, you kind of would get the impression that he's really like amped up, but he is so, so laid back. Like you have to force an answer out of him. So that's just kind of funny. Versus me, I kind of tell him right away. Like if there's something that I don't like that he's wearing or whatever, or like if he knows like certain hairstyles or whatever that he does, and I'm like, oh, he knows how I like his hair, he knows how I like his beard. I'm very verbal about it. I tell him. I tell him what I like. He doesn't always do it, but I do tell him. Um, Mainly, he doesn't always do it because it's so hot down here. So he's like, I can't have my hair that long. I know you like it that like that, but I can't have it like that because it's too hot. Or my beard. He's wanting to trim his beard for a while now. Yeah. So anyway, I guess that is pretty much the point. We just got a few minutes left. If anybody's got anything good to say, any funny story or memories, or if you notice any difference when you go out into public, or if you're around your man or your boys and you notice a difference in how they respond based on how you dress. And it is a difference, I can say, in if I have a maxi skirt on and a t-shirt versus if I have one of these dresses on. There's a difference in the response from my husband and from my boys, from everybody. Like they know that if I'm in a maxi skirt and a t-shirt, I'm in like the get it done mode. I'm cleaning the house. I've been working outside. I've been doing chores. I'm sweaty. I'm dirty, whatever. Like it's a whole different reaction than like when he came home from work today and he's like, oh, you look nice. Oh, you smell good. Oh, you look pretty, that kind of thing. So it's a different, which obviously I respond to him differently too if he's in work clothes and just came in from outside and is all sweaty. Um, yeah, so I guess that's kind of it, y'all. Again, I'll just say if anybody here knows of anybody that you think might enjoy one of the courses, we are going to be closing them up today, and that will be it for the next 5 weeks. So right now, they are both still open. I don't know what time we're going to close them up, but they are getting closed up today. And also, if there's anything over on the website that you might find that you like and enjoy, it's a blessing to us and a blessing to you if you enjoy any of those products over there. It's super fun. And we did sell our first 3 cows and our first 3 pigs. It was our first month of doing that, and we have one more meat pickup day, and that will be it until August. So that was really fun. That was really fun and exciting to be able to be a blessing to some other people with some good, healthy meat. So I think that's pretty much it. My kids are outside swimming in the pool, and I'm going to go sit out there and watch them. Oh, Caitlin. Okay. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Oh, Rebecca, you're going to try to catch again. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's hard when you don't. Pamela Leonard says it's hard when you don't want to wear makeup and the husband. Yeah, I think, even with my girlfriend, I think it's kind of sweet like that her husband wants her to wear her hair down and, and he wants her to curl it or whatever. I just think that's so sweet. I mean, but because they're older than me, they're not like 20. He's not like, 20 or 30 years old asking her to be a certain way. Like that's kind of super sweet that he cares. So I would just take it like that. Um, I would just totally take it like that. Yeah, one time I had this pink, um, like lip gloss stuff, and I wore that for a little while. And I mean, it was real, like, it was light, but it wasn't like beaming pink, but it was pink. It was like a just a different tone than what I would normally wear. And then my husband's like, "Yeah, I don't like that." And I was like, "What? It's so happy. It's like a nice, happy, pretty, fun pink." And he was just like, "Yeah, no." It wasn't his thing. It's so funny. I think it's funny, but praise the Lord that they care. If they care enough to tell you, that is, I think that's a good sign. Okay, Caitlin's Family Farm said, I do have a question about the course. I wouldn't be able to make Sundays, so would I be able to get something out of it with the lives? Yes, you probably would, Caitlin, because we're going to post the lives. So you'll be able to go back and watch them whenever you want at your convenience. And also, if you're okay with Telegram and you don't have to put your real name on there, I keep telling everybody, you can be private as you want to be on Telegram. You can just be Jane Doe or whatever on Telegram. But also through Telegram, we're going to be using that to communicate and just encourage each other. So if you had questions, if you were watching the different video modules and you had questions about it or whatever, questions about whatever, we could kind of coach you and do things through Telegram as well if you had questions that weren't getting answered through the lives. And Sunday evenings, we just picked that because my boys have a really, really busy schedule during the week, and so do I, and so does my husband. So it was just the best to do it on Sunday evenings when everybody's home, um, and we know that they're not going to be exhausted from a long day of working and stuff like that, and then have to jump on and try to do a live. So that's why we did Sunday evenings. Ellie said, my mom always said, God gave you the gift of femininity. Use it wisely. Yeah, there was another, Ellie, a funny little comment. And I'm going to have to text her. It was a girl from my old church. And she said, her mom said something. It was this awesome saying about being a woman and just the, what you have, like your strength in being a woman. I can't remember the saying, but I'm going to have to text her and say, tell me what that was again. It was so awesome when she said it. And she said, my mother always told me this, and I was like, I like that. I'm going to have to use it. Of course, I can't remember it. So yes, use it wisely. Yes. And we do have to use it wisely. And that's what I'm just trying to do is just, uh, study out all these things and see what would glorify the Lord most and what honors my husband the most, um, what my family enjoys asking them. I had an older lady one time, and she said, I just sat my husband down and my older sons down and just asked them. Like, I had to just point blank ask them the questions because they were building a homestead and doing all the things, building a house from scratch and everything. And she said, I just had to ask them, like, okay, what is okay with you guys that I wear, how I dress myself while we're doing all of this stuff, because I want to be feminine and I want to be covered up, but it had to be really, really practical as well because they were literally building a house together. So there's all different reasons, right, to get feedback from all the men and boys around us. So, anyway, y'all, I hope you have a super blessed evening, and I will be back on here, Lord willing, tomorrow night, and we'll have a new topic to discuss and a new dress to share with you. And I hope you all have a blessed. Yes, they're not mind readers. No, they are definitely not mind readers. All right, y'all, have a blessed evening. I'm going to leave y'all here, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun, like always.